Walt Disney has said that I hope we all remember that it all started with a mouse. So here is Walt and a shadow of Mickey. Walt loved railroads, and here's Walt walking through the mine train ride in Disneyland, leaning. Walt would tag along with his wife Lillian, and she liked to go to antique stores. She went to an antique store that had a little mechanical bird that you'd wind it up and it would move. And Walt was so interested in that when he got back, he brought the bird into his Imagineers, told him to take it apart, find out what made it work. And based on that, he created the Tiki Room, and these are some of the birds that are represented in the Tiki Room.
And it's still the same name, Jose.
That's right. Walt is a young man and a little stuffed Mickey Mouse. Walt resting on some movie-making equipment. Here's Walt and old movie camera. And here's Walt at Disneyland with Mickey. He's in the fire truck. One of the things that they were missing when Disneyland's Main Street opened was a fire engine. And Walt said, "That's great, we need a fire engine." And he assigned Bob Gurr to build it. Bob Gurr built almost everything that had wheels for Disney for decades. And this is Walt driving the fire engine on Main Street with his good friend Mickey. The same picture of Walt walking down the railroad tracks, and another picture of Walt in the Tiki Room. Nowadays, the Tiki Room has a number of benches, but as he was demonstrating the Tiki Room to visitors and guests, they had just chairs in which to sit. Father and mother, and a little baby Walt. Walt with his sister, might be Roy as well. In Marceline, Missouri, where Walt grew up, he sat at this desk and scratched his name on it, or his initials. Wanted to start his business, the Disney production company, Disney company. He needed some money to do it. He went to see his brother Roy, who was actually in the VA hospital recovering from tuberculosis, a lung disease that he caught while he was in the Navy. And he said, "I want to do this." And the next morning, Roy checked himself out, and he was getting a little bit of money from the government because he was injured in the war. And they took that money, that VA money, and put it towards opening the Walt Disney Brothers, or the Disney Brothers Studio.
Cool.
Now, Walt lived in Marceline, Missouri for 4 years of his childhood, but it was an important 4 years, and he kind of always remembered it. You can see a black and white photo of Main Street, and sure enough, today in Disneyland and Walt Disney World, in fact, in pretty much all of the Disney parks, there is a Main Street, an old-time town, and it's very much like Marceline, Missouri. So Walt would write little cartoons for the newspapers, and he saw Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs at a movie show. And he said, "That is so cool. He'd like to bring that to life." One of the early versions of his animation was combining a live-action actress, the little kid, little girl, with animated backgrounds or animated characters. So he'd put photographs, movies of her together with animated drawings. That was
Oh, that together.
that's right,
I
and
didn't
that
know
was
that.
distributed through Winkler Pictures. But Mr. Winkler had a contract with Walt that actually left Walt out of control and of the animations that he worked on. And here's Oswald the Rabbit. But Walt found out that he didn't own rights to this character, even though he created the character.
But now he own it.
Well, he said, I need to come up with another character. He and his wife Lillian were on a train, 3-day trip coming from back east out to California.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, he said, maybe a mouse. So he created a little mouse. He said, we can call him Mortimer. And Lillian said, that's too big a name. How about a friendly name like Mickey? So they said, okay, Mickey Mouse. We'll call him Mickey. In 1929, he had the Silly Symphonies, which had music timed with the movements of the cartoon. So he was able to move from silent movies directly into talkies, as it was called back then. So part of the Silly Symphony was Flowers and Trees, and that was color now in animation. So they had colors in their animated feature. And it was the third appearance of Mr. Donald Duck.
I know that. It's over here.